Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Sam's Corner. Today, we're going to continue with the series Developing the Workforce of You. And what we're going to talk about today is how to navigate unemployment. It's a hard topic to discuss and to deal with because it's not something that we want to discuss, it's not something we want to think about happening. But to be honest, as adults, we're going to have to face reality, and we have to face that sometimes, or maybe more than once in our professional career, we're going to face unemployment. Now, I'll be honest, this is my second time. I was recently informed that I'm being laid off, and it's always when I'm going out of town or working on a project. So, this was a couple of years ago. I was working for a contractor, and they sent me off site for 2 weeks. They had been doing some layoffs, and so I kind of knew my time was coming. So we're off site, I'm working with another contractor. We're just sitting there talking, and we're just talking about stuff. And when there are times layoffs create a horrible work environment. So my advice is for employers: if you're watching this, the thing you want to do is, for the employees that are left behind, you're going to have to work hard to create some sort of comfortable work environment. Because when layoffs happen, everyone is stressed, everyone is scared, everyone feels like they're walking around with the target feeling like I'm next. And of course, that's not a bad way to feel, because honestly, sometimes that's the case. However, employers, it's your responsibility to try to keep a happy work environment as much as possible. But we also know that it's life and that things happen. So, with that being said, it's still your responsibility. So, make sure you talk to your employees about what's going on. Try to put them at ease as much as possible, but don't lie to them. Tell them the truth. But at the same point, too, as an employer, you're responsible for your work environment. So, kind of backtrack, but let me go back to my story. So we're sitting, we're talking. I said, I know I'm next. She's like, no, you're not. I get an email, and I'm like, see, I told you so. So they fly my boss out there now. She's kind of nervous. I don't know if she thought I was going to go off or be angry black man or whatever. But she was really nice and empathetic and sympathetic. And for me, I was like, I saw it coming. I'm okay with it. I'll be fine. I think she was surprised at how calm I was. I mean, it's a hard thing to deal with emotionally, because you're considering, how do I continue to maintain my standard of living when my only source of income is going bye-bye. Now, with that employer, they did give me ample time, and they also gave me a good severance package. So the employer, they were really good about it, and they handled it the right way. Everyone was compassionate, everyone was considerate. They just did it right. It's still tough because they were losing contract, or the contract was shifting. I forgot which one, but still they handled it the right way. So it took me some time before I was able to find another job. More time than I would have liked, but it happened. So I'm at the same point again. So of course, when it's your second time around, it's not like the first time. You know what you need to do. So that's why I want to go into this and talk a little bit more in depth about, or talk about in depth rather, how to navigate unemployment and what are the steps that you really need to do. And I want to talk about it from 4 different aspects, because when we think of unemployment, we only think about money, the financial part. And that is a component. But you also have to look at, in my opinion, 3 other components: your emotional component, your spiritual component, and your physical component. And a lot of people think, but why would you put those in there? Well, trust me, I'm going to tie it all together, and it's all going to make sense. I got to make sure I look at my notes, because I wrote a lot of stuff down. Because you know what, I'm a thinker, and sometimes, we forget stuff. Most people, they try to act like they don't write stuff, but you see their videos. You see them with their little notepad and stuff, and they try not to look over at their notes. But let's be honest, we all don't remember everything off the top of our head, and we have notes. It's fine. Some people are smart. Like, they'll just put it on the screen so you don't see it. I could have thought about that just now, but I wrote it down because I'm one of the people, I like pen and paper, and it helps. So But anyway, I want to go and talk about the first step, the emotional. When you're first being called into HR and they're telling you, it's you already know it's going to be bad news when the person who tells you is about 10 seconds from crying. So my first and second time, I'm like, here we go. Okay, so I'm not a person who is all. I understand people's emotions because understanding from their perspective is a very emotionally hard thing to do. But for me, it's like, I don't want to see you cry. I mean, you can show empathy, but if you're sitting there about to bawl into tears, that's not going to make this any better. So for me, I just need you to say what we need to say so we can keep it pushing. But I understand, people's emotions and compassion and sympathy. I get that. So I rock with it and say, okay. But I want to start with the emotional component. At first, depending on how you process your emotions, some of you may feel numb right away. Some people may start crying. Some people may just go into shock. Everyone's process is different. And let me tell you why. Now, for a majority of us, we have that one job. That one job is our sole source of income. So when you remove that source of income, it creates financial hardship and it messes with or it hinders your ability to live the lifestyle that you want and to take care of the things that you need. So for the emotional component, because a lot of times, a lot of us, we don't just take care of ourselves. We have husbands, we have wives, we have partners, spouses, we have kids. And nowadays, we even have parents that we take care of. So a majority of the time, when you look at a person, and a lot of people say, well, they make this amount of money, they should be able to do this and do that. First of all, if you're that type of person, please stop doing that. Mind your business. You don't know what someone has to do. You don't know what someone has to take care of. Number two, if you're married, back in the day, one income was enough. We all know now 2 incomes is necessary. If you have kids, you got to take care of their needs. And sometimes some of our parents didn't save enough. So I have a friend, and we're good friends, and her husband works and everything. She has 2 kids, but she also has to work and take care of her mother and do things for her as well. So her money has to go further. So a part of the emotional component is the fact that when we become unemployed, sometimes it can hinder our ability to take care not only of ourselves, but all of our other responsibilities. But there's a lot of emotion. There are a lot of emotions behind it as well. So another aspect of it is once you consider what people have to do or what their responsibilities are for, another aspect that we have to consider or think about is our personal feelings. There can be anger, there can be hurt, there can be resentment. I'm going to tell you this, the longer you've been at your job, the longer you done worked overtime, worked weekends, and helped with projects and stuff, you're going to feel a certain type of way of being told your services are no longer required. And so I wanted to talk about that because a lot of times we as people don't learn how to process and dealing with our emotions. So it's okay to feel anger, it's okay to feel resentment, it's okay to feel hurt. But you can't just bottle it all up. What we have to learn to do as individuals is accept our emotions and accept our feelings, but not to act on them. Now, of course, I'm going to be honest, when you're being laid off, and they give you some time, that little petty part of your soul, it comes out and think of things that you can do. Don't do it. I know you want to. I understand your feelings, but don't. It's not necessary, and it really isn't worth it. And sometimes, to be honest, being laid off sometimes can be a blessing and not necessarily a curse. But I understand your feelings. So from an emotional standpoint, I want you to be okay with your emotions. It's okay that one day you may feel okay, and the next day you might not be, and the other day you may feel so-so, and then one day you may feel all of that, and then some days you may feel nothing, and that's okay. It's okay to have those type of emotions. It's okay to feel that type of way. Don't bottle them up because they're going to look for a way to come out, and that's what happens a lot of of times, but we don't deal with our emotions. They come out in different ways. So I want you to take a moment, no matter what. And of course, if sometimes when you're being laid off, you may be given time. Sometimes you're not. Sometimes it's that day. But either way, process your emotions, find coping mechanisms to deal with it. Don't lash out at other people. Don't even lash out at your employer. Don't take it as something personal. Oftentimes it's not, but hey, sometimes we all know that people are petty, and not all offices are professional. Some are professionally petty. But don't go down that road. Process your emotions, deal with them, allow yourself to feel whatever you feel so that you can let it go, because you're going to have to get focused. Whether you've been given maybe 3 months or whether you've been told that day, you're still going to have to be on your grind, because you're going to have to now focus on finding another job. So process your emotions. It's okay to feel what you feel. And also, this is a time for you to really rely on your support system. So if like your parents or maybe your best friend, or you have other colleagues or someone else who's going through it, lean on your support system. This is the time when you need your support system. So husband, whoever, boyfriend, girlfriend, you need to be able to rely on your support system. It's very important. So the next aspect I want to talk about is the physical component. The physical component comes into play more when we don't deal with our emotions. Even though stress is not a material thing, and by material I mean physical, like this pencil right here, it's still something that our body responds to. Like even though, okay, like for example, you're watching a scary movie, you see something, you jump. Now, are you in no harm or in harm's way? Absolutely not. But your body responds. The same way with stress. If you don't deal with stress, it manifests itself physically as well. And sometimes if we don't deal with stress, certain people, they deal with it and they get as far as headaches and back pain and any other type of ailment or whatever. So it's important to deal with your, my allergies. And so it's very important to deal with it on a physical level. So you have to, and sometimes dealing with stressful situations, this is where that dreaded E word comes in, exercise. I know a lot of us don't like to do it. We don't like to go to the gym. But this is one of those times when it's important to exercise, because this is going to be a positive way to get rid of a lot of that stress. Because the stress think of it like it sits in your body, but it has no place to go. And you need to be able to release that in order to be relaxed, to be calm, and to be happy, to be free. So it's a good thing to exercise. So go for walks. It can be a 10-minute walk. It can be a 15-minute walk. Do whatever. If you have weights at home, or that exercise machine you have in the basement that you use now as a coat rack, you might want to use it. It's important to get out there, get exercise, be active. It's going to help you to clear your mind, because to be honest, you're going to need to be focused to moving from trying to find a job in order to get another one. So you're going to need that level of focus. And if you're only focusing on, oh my God, I just lost my job, and not focusing, okay, what do I need to do next? You're not going to feel better. It's not going to be good for you. Another thing you can do is humor. Find things, maybe watch a comedy special, or go out with friends, or we all have that one friend that we just shake our heads at, and they say and do the most outrageous things, but we have a good time. Hang out with your friends. And I know if you're being laid off, or you're fired or whatever, you're going to be thinking about money, and I understand that, and it's important too. But also don't forget that you need to live too, and have fun. Have a little bit of fun. You're going to really need it. Trust me, you're going to need it. So the next step, let me take a drink. It's just tea. I wish it was alcohol. In fact, dang it, I need to go to the liquor store. But the next thing I want to talk about is your spiritual component. And I want to talk about spirituality Not everyone is spiritual, not everyone believes in God, not everyone has faith, and that's okay. That's absolutely fine. I have no problem with that. Everyone has their own walk or no walk at all, and that's fine. But when you're going through something as traumatic as unemployment, you're going to need something to focus on. You're going to need something to help you stay focused because it is so easy when we're unemployed to think about, I lost my job, what am I going to do? And honestly, it's easy. Depression can set in, and it has for me. It has. Not as much now, but before, I was really, really depressed and in a really bad place. But I had other stuff going on too. So it's very, very hard when you're being laid off. Because, like I said, your sole source of income is gone. And so you have to find a way to stay motivated and to stay focused because you have other people who could be relying on you. And even if you don't, you still want to maintain your standard of living. It's not easy. And I'm taking deep breaths because as I'm talking, all of these emotions and feelings because it's a real thing. And that's why I want to share this video and why it's important for me to do this. I mean, it's longer than any other video I've ever done, and I haven't really done that many either, but it's important. And so I want to do what I can to help others. While at the same time, I guess I'm helping myself. So spirituality. Spirituality for me goes beyond religion. Your spirituality, I feel, is whatever you do to nourish yourself, nourish yourself on a level that elevates you to a higher level of consciousness and thought. That's why we need to, during this time, you really need to surround yourself with positive people. You need to surround yourself with positive thinkers, and you also need to make sure that what you're watching, what you're viewing, uplifts you. So, of course, it can be comedy, even if it's raunchy. If you love it and it makes you laugh and it makes you feel good and it helps you release stress, go ahead and do it. Maybe you want to follow maybe someone like Oprah or Yana Van Sant or someone else. Anyone who nourishes your soul and it can give you any type of good advice so you can hear something that can propel you forward. Because right now you're in a state where, oh God, what am I going to do? And you need to move into a state of mind of what am I going to do next. So in order to do that, you have to stay positive. You have to stay focused. You're going to have all those thoughts in your head. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Things are going. You can go to a very negative space in your mind and you don't want to. So pray if that's what you do. Read your Bible. That's what you do. Whatever it takes to help you get through, you're going to need to do it. It's important if you believe in a higher power to pray because you're going to need it. Because this, even though it's just that one thing of losing your job, we don't think about how our job really allows us to do all the things that we need to do and things that we want to do, and really allow how far or how impactful our jobs are. So I want you to remember to stay positive. Even if you follow someone who posts nothing but positive memes on IG, do it. Whatever it takes. If you have to take those things, print them out, and put them on your wall. If you have to save the pictures and images on your phone, and every morning before you get up, you just scroll through them 3 or 4 minutes, whatever it takes. If you have a mantra, if you have a prayer, if you have, like, my mother has this book, like a confession a day, and it's a scripture and a prayer. Whatever it takes to get you through, do it. Because you're going to need it. You're going to need to, and I know that when we go through hard times, we want to rely on other people. And I get that. And we need to. We need to be able to access and fully utilize our support systems. But there's also comes a point in time where we need to build ourselves up because we're going to have to move forward. The final step that I want to talk about is the financial because it's the most important. Now, of course, if you're being laid off or even if you're fired or company goes under, all is not completely lost. You do have options. Number one, I hope and pray that all of you out there have been saving. Now, I know people are going to say, I can't afford to save, I don't make enough, blah, blah, blah. I get that. And I hear you and I understand the mentality. However, times like this come up, and what are you going to do? Even if you save, my mother would always tell a story or talk about my grandfather. He was 30 years older than my grandmother, so unfortunately, I never got to meet him. I wish I did. But he taught them, he said, save $1 a day or just save your change. So that's my advice to you. If you're not saving or you haven't been, now is the time. Even if you're being laid off and they're giving you some time, you're going to need to up your savings. But if you haven't, you need to start saving something. And I don't care if it's $5 a paycheck. I don't care if it's $2. I don't care if it's $1 a month. You need to get into a habit of saving. And let me tell you why. Most of the time when we're taught about savings, we're taught like, we think, oh, I got to save 200, 300, 500 at a time. No. Savings is a habit. You have to build the habit. So you may start off doing $1 a day. You may start off with just saving your change, but you have to get into the thought pattern of savings. And this is why, because the unexpected comes. I'm going to tell you this with my most recent employer. We all were called into an all hands meeting. We thought it would just be another one. They're telling us about restructuring, blah, blah, blah. They're like, no, 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 no. Oh, well, we're doing that, and we're going to let some more of you all go. And it's like, oh, okay. None of us expected it. So that's what I'm saying. You just don't know what's going to happen. You're going to have to get into the mindset of saving. So I hope you have been saving. If not, please start saving something. I don't care what it is. So the next thing we're going to talk about, still under financial, of course, is filing for unemployment. Again, you're going to have to look into a little bit more rules and regulations. I'm not sure if you're fired, if you can, but I know if you're being laid off, you absolutely can. Now, sometimes the good thing about being laid off, not that it's a great thing, but sometimes you're given a severance package. Any money you get that can give you more time is a great thing. So a severance package for those who don't know, when a company decides that they're going to lay you off, they give you compensation that's equal to any kind of amount, which could be anywhere from like 2 weeks to 3 months, whatever. So a severance package, it helps. It helps when you're looking for another job. And it helps sometimes if you haven't saved a lot. At least it gives you more time to maintain your income until you find something else. But after that, you can file for unemployment. Of course, we pay taxes, so you've been paying into unemployment, and you just follow your state's rules and regulations. Now it's a lot easier. You can go online, fill out paperwork, follow their rules, and just go online and do it. Another thing that you can do from a financial perspective is to really, I didn't write this down, but it just came to me. This is now one of the most important times to really look over your budget. Look over where your money goes. And this is where you're going to have to be really, really extremely honest with yourself. And most people are like, I don't know how to create a budget. With all of the internet and templates or whatever else, it's very simple. You know how much income you bring in. But this is where you want to look at your expenses. You want to look at your rent. You want to look at, internet. You want to look at cell phone. This is where you want to look at where you really spend your money and see if there's any place that you can cut. Because it's important for you to do that, especially in this time. So A lot of things I'm saying means you're going to have to take a lot of energy to build yourself spiritually, emotionally, physically, and financially. But it's worth it in the long run because even for me, I sat down over the weekend and I really looked at my budget and I was like, I saw this charge. I'm like, I don't even use this anymore. Why did I still let this happen? That was just a waste of money. So I went ahead and canceled and did what I need to do. It's important to remain fiscally responsible. Even though I know it feels like a lot, and I know for a lot of you out there, a lot of people say I'm not good with numbers, and I totally get that. But their programs and Excel is good, and sometimes it's just really something simple. Just take a moment to look over your budget, trim out anything that you don't need, so that moving forward, as you're moving into this area, this state of possibly not having a new job, that you're able to, at least maintain as much money as you can. So the next thing I want to talk about is retirement. Now there are tax implications from taking money from your retirement. I'm not going to lie, but at the same point, if you need it and it's there. So again, this is where you want to talk to a tax professional about taking money out. I don't know during certain state or federal laws. I'm sorry, I'm not knowledgeable enough about that. But I'm just speaking about the financial because if you do need money and you've been saving for retirement, there may come a time where you need to take it. I know no one wants to, but there may be a time. So I just want to put that out there. I have two more points. One thing is, in African American vernacular English, we call it a side hustle. Other things it's called alternative form of income. So a lot of times, especially now these days, people drive Lyft or Uber. If you're able to find another job or even something that's part-time to help when you're trying to maintain, for a lot of us, if we're able to maintain close to our level of income, we're good. But sometimes we can't, but even having a part-time job or two or whatever else can help. So this is where the time where you start to think outside the box and think, what else can I do to earn money? And for some of you out there, there's a job that not a job, I'm sorry, there's a business that you've wanted to start. And now may be the time to do it. So consider that. The last financial thing, and it's not necessarily financial, but it's kind of tied into everything I've been talking about, is time. The more time your employer gives you, the more time you have to plan, to think ahead, use your critical thinking skills, and plan. And I put time under financial because sometimes having extra time, because sometimes there's a big difference between being laid off today and being laid off or being told 3 to 6 months from now. So sometimes time can give you that extra little bit to save a little bit more, look at certain things, and maybe find another job within a certain time frame so you can maintain your income. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. What I want you all to take away with is, if you haven't been saving, please do so. Contribute to your employers, either 401k or 403b, depending on the type of organization. Those are retirement plans. If you haven't started saving, please, God, start saving now. I don't care how much it is. Anything helps. And I also want you to understand that just because you may have lost your job, it is not the end of the world. It may feel like it, but it's not. You're going to make it through. Don't give up. Keep moving forward. Stay positive. Pray. Meditate. Do whatever it needs to do. But above all else, surround yourself with positive people and positive thinking. Thank you all for watching. And please leave a like. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.